Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to do a little optimization of the code. Um, when we finished making the enemy ships move, we wrote a couple of lines of code that were really long. And those lines of code also included uh, quite a bit of math, particular this line right here, the randomizer on the max terrain height plus 10, screen height minus max terrain height plus 10, plus enemy ship height. Look at all that stuff right there. It's a ton of math. Really, this is basically a starting number and an ending number, basically. A starting number and an ending number here. Each of these represent, a starting number and an ending number. So we're going to create some variables that are going to help us clean that up. So we'll be able to, instead of having a bunch of math down there, we're going to be able to. So the first one I'm going to make, this one is going to be a variable that's going to represent the middle screen width. And this will be equal to screen width divided by 2. It's going to give me the point right in the middle of the screen, the value that's in the middle of my screen for x. Likewise, I'm going to make a middle screen height and make that equal to screen height divided by 2. That's going to get me the vertical middle, the middle of the screen from the top to the bottom. So those two variables basically essentially represent the exact center point of the center of the screen. And these variables, you may have seen it in the code. Many times we've had screen width divided by 2. Many times we've had screen height divided by 2. So we'll take that math out from all of those bits of code and we'll just put them into variable names that we can use. Then, after we, do things like define our max terrain height, define our enemy ship height, after we do things like that, and we've got which of our other variables set up here, down here in our enemy ship, we're going to add this is for the randomization of Y positions. POS ITIONS, positions, the randomizer of Y positions. So this first variable, we're going to call this the minimum enemy spawn. Sounds like a good name. Minimum enemy spawn. And the minimum enemy spawn is going to be set to, we have all the math down there already. It was in our calculations. That was the maximum terrain height, the max terrain height, plus, let's make one more variable. And we'll call that enemy spawn offset. For the time being, we'll just set that equal to 10. That works. So I'll copy enemy spawn offset. And I'm going to set the minimum enemy spawn to the maximum terrain height plus the enemy spawn offset. And I'm going to make another variable, which I'm going to call maximum enemy spawn. And that will be equal to the screen height subtract. I'm going to put it in parentheses, and I'm going to steal it from right there. Control C, paste it right there. And plus that, I need to add the enemy ship height. I need to add that as well. And put a terminator there on the end of all that. And let me shrink my text down just a little bit. So hopefully we can get this all to fit on the screen. There we go. Got it all to fit. So now we're not going to have these huge calculations down there in the code. We're just going to use these variables that we made, this minimum enemy spawn, maximum enemy spawn, and that middle screen width and middle screen height. We're going to use those variables. Let's now take one of them down, like I'll grab minimum enemy spawn and copy that, Control C. And then let's go down to add the enemies. Could make this easier on myself by collapsing that, collapsing that, collapsing that. Shut that down. Great. Here's add enemy ship. So in add enemy ship, where I had max terrain height plus 10, now I'm going to paste minimum enemy spawn. And let's see. I also used that right there. Minimum enemy spawn right there. So there we go. Minimum enemy spawn right there. And then, go back up here. I'll go grab maximum enemy spawn. Copy that. Control C. Maximum enemy spawn. And that's this part right there. From that point to the end, from screen height all the way to the end of this spot right there. Take that out. You should have this down to minimum enemy spawn, comma, space, and then I'm going to paste that maximum enemy spawn. Now that makes that line of code just read a lot cleaner. My random Y is going to be between a minimum enemy spawn point and a maximum enemy spawn. And I set those variables up at the top. Now I also get to put a maximum enemy spawn down here in this spot. Here's a screen height, all that stuff right there. I get to take that out and turn that into a maximum enemy spawn as well. Now here's some screen heights divided by 2. That is my middle screen height. Middle screen height. Copy that. Screen height divided by 2. Paste it there. So now I've got these two randomizer. They're much cleaner. Got going from my minimum enemy spawn to the middle of the screen height. That's when my counter variable for the for loop, when this variable I is an even number, we're going to be spawning in a point in the top of the screen, the top half of the screen. When I is not even, when I is then going to be an odd number, then that's the else will take care of that. Because if you're not even, the only thing you can be is odd. And so when you're odd, then we're going to be spawning in the bottom half of the screen. Now, we can use these variables in other places, actually, in our code. We have used them. So I'm going to kind of like come up here to the top. Let me just grab middle screen width. That would be anywhere I see screen width divided by 2. I've copied that middle screen width, and I'm looking for screen widths divided by 2. And do I see any? I'm looking, scanning for screen widths divided by 2. I better open these things up. Nope, nothing in there. Let's see in the setup function. Screen width. Ooh, there's a screen height divided by 2. Better leave this thing open. There's a screen width divided by 2. A screen width divided by 2 can be replaced with middle screen width. There's another one right there. There's a screen width divided by 2. I'll replace it with a middle screen width. And there's another one. Screen width divided by 2. I'll replace it with another middle screen width. And the screen width divided by 2, I will replace that with another middle screen width. And I'm looking over here. There's a screen height divided by 2. Let's see. There's another screen height divided by 2. Just thinking about the future. Let's see. Nothing about middle screen widths in the game function. Nothing about that in key down. Key down just gets the G key. Update score. Nope. Not relevant. Check clicking. Nope. Nothing to do with any of that stuff in check clicking. On mouse down. No. Mouse up. No. And then down here, did I have any screen widths divided by 2? I think they got absorbed. Nope, I just had heights. The lose function. There's a screen width divided by 2. I can replace that with a middle screen width. There's another screen height divided by 2. And let's see. Getting elements, checking the elements, adding the terrain. Nope. Oh, hey, look at that. Look at all that stuff. We're going to be doing stuff there. I got some kind of plan. And then, yep. Oh, there's a terrain timer. What's that all about? And I think I've hit the end. I don't think I'm going to see anymore. Yep. All right. Let's go all the way back to the top. I'm going to get the middle screen height. I saw a bunch of screen heights divided by 2. So let me roll back down here. Let me find the screen heights divided by 2. And there was one of them right off the bat, right there. Screen height divided by 2. Can replace that with the middle screen height. And let's see, there's screen height divided by 4. Nope, nope, nope. Oh, there's a screen height divided by 2. I'll replace that with the middle screen height. So those are all, don't have any. Let's see, screen width divided by 3. Not one of the special ones. Screen height divided by 2. Right there is a screen height divided by 2. I remember seeing that earlier in the lose text. And I think that was it. Now, of course, we made a bunch of changes here. If I did everything right, everything should still be working. Yep, don't have anything to do with the screen width, screen height. All right, let's go back to top and let's see if it works. And let's see. I can crunch into the enemies. And my code all seems to be functioning and working. All right, so what did we do here? We optimized code. We created these 4 new variables, middle screen width, middle screen height, so that we could get some math out, because in a bunch of places we had screen width divided by 2 and screen height divided by 2. And we also created these variables down here, our minimum enemy spawn, which was the maximum terrain plus the enemy spawn offset, and the maximum enemy spawn, which is the screen height, take away all that stuff, plus the height of the enemy ship, for that matter. Just to get all that math moved over into a nice variable we could get our hands on. It cleaned up our code. It made these look so much better down here. This line of code right here no longer goes off the edge of the screen, and it's more meaningful. We're getting a random integer between a minimum number and a maximum number, keeping it simple. Likewise down here, we're getting a random number between a minimum number and the middle of the screen, and we're getting a random number if our odd I value, if the value of I is an odd number, we're going to get a random Y value that will be at the smallest, the middle of the screen height, and the maximum enemy spawn. So it's all good. Thank you very much, and we will see you in class.